Hello, my name is Jeff. This is Consultation, your 2A Self-Defense Law Network. I work with other instructors. I'm in groups with other instructors, and one of the instructors came out with a list of what he has seen on other people's literature. There has been times in court cases in the past where the prosecution has looked at your training facility to turn you into a nut job. There was a case I read about 9 years ago. Well, actually, Masayub did an article on it a long time ago. I can't find it anymore, so I don't know where it is. So you're just going to have to trust me on this. But again, this is information only. You need to verify it for yourself. Now, these are some of the things that are in people's literature. So when you go look for a good firearms instructor to teach you, you also have to look at, would you bring this person home to your mother? Would you bring this person home to your grandmother? Let alone, would you bring this person to meet 12 unknown strangers in the jury to discuss your training method? All right? I'll just go through some of these. Guns only have two enemies, rust and politicians. Now, I'm going to go, these are bravado things. And they make a good brochure, but they really don't make a very good narrative as far as how you go about in your life. I'm not saying that these are bad, and any one of them is not going to sink or swim you. But anyway, you know what I'm trying to get to. But if you combine a bunch of these within your totality, and if your intent is one of these kind of saying people, 12 people on the jury who's never fired a firearm or never gone through a training class can tend to look at you oddly. Now this next one, if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know I do not like this one. It is better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. It is a wholly innocent, ignorant way of looking at the justice system. When people say that to me, they're basically saying, I don't care what the law is. Whatever the law is, I'm just going to try to win the fight. Well, and then some people will say, well, if you follow the law, you're going to die. Well, it's just not true. There's also something called jury nullification, where it's basically saying that you are going to let 12 juries acquit you, then do anything else, and that will never get to court. Jury nullification has to be your lawyer cannot bring up jury nullification anymore. They are the finder of fact and not the finder of law. I don't agree with that, and that's how I get out of doing jury duty. Is just say I am a jury and I'm going to be the finder of fact and the finder if the law is just. You can't do that anymore. You can't. Juries cannot see if the law is just. It just doesn't work anymore. Cops carry guns to protect themselves, not you. Well, it is true. There are every state has its own court case stating why the state has no liability to protect you. They just don't. And some of these things need to be in context. If you don't know what the context is, you need to have it behind the context. But these are just bravado kind of things. Never let someone or something that threatens you get inside arm's length. Alright? Never say, I've got a gun. If you need to use deadly force, the first sound they should be they hear should be safety clicking off. Prefer the sound of a slug being chambered when you cock a shotgun. Bravado. Alright? The average response time for 911 call is 23 minutes. The response time of a 357 is 1,400 feet per second. Bravado. Does this help your narrative if you're in a courtroom? The most important rule in a gunfight is always win. Cheat if necessary. I understand the sentiment that you have to win the physical fight before you have to worry about the court fight. But if you have this documented somewhere, What is your mindset? Make your attacker advance through a wall of bullets. You may get killed with your own gun, but he'll have to beat you to death with it, because it will be empty. That is a dangerous statement. You have this on your Facebook page, you have it on social media, hell, you have it as a bumper sticker. You need to stop shooting when the threat is over. You know, if you're on your 20th bullet, you have a lot to explain to, and if the average person listens to this, they might get confused, and they might be going away for jail for a long time for using too much proportional force. If you're right, in a gunfight, if you're not shooting, you should be loading. If you're not loading, you should be moving. If you're not moving, you are dead. That is a bravado thing that needs to be in context. Again, do you think the 12 broccoli stalks on the juror is going to understand this? In a life or death situation, do something. It may be wrong, but do something. Why would you want to? Well, that's true. If you seize up, and this is going to be a flight or fight or Peter Pan scenario. It has that connotation to it, but again, jury people do not have the same training that we do. If the jurors look at that, they're saying do something wrong. Well, let's put their thinking in this connotation. Do something illegal. How is that narrative going to play? If you have this on your social media page, or if you have this plastered over your trainer's page. If you carry a gun, people call you paranoid. Nonsense. If you have a gun, what do you have to be paranoid about? It's called being prepared. Bravado. Thank you very much. You can say stop or alto or any other word, but a large bore muzzle pointed at someone's head is pretty much a universal language. Amen. You know, how are the 12 broccoli stalks going to view that statement? If your trainer has this stuff in the literature, is it going to help your narrative? You cannot save the planet, but you may be able to save yourself and your family. This is all bravado stuff. You know, are you going to go to the prom with this type of trainer? Are you? That's what I have to say. I'm going to, as I stated in the beginning, any one of these isn't going to hang you. But if it's accumulation of this stuff, and if your case already has kind of warts because you screwed up in some fashion, and if it's not pristine and precise and everything nice, when do you do everything right in a gunfight? When do you do everything legally right? In some cases it's just not, but when you have that little bit of a wiggle room, is this kind of stuff, are these the people that you want to be taught? Are these the people that you want to bring home to grandma, home to mom, home to the 12 jurors? You may want to think of it if it's in this totality, but if it's just here and there, who knows? The response time to 911 is 23 minutes. The response time to with 357 is 1,400 feet per second. How can you take that out of context, right? My name is Jeff. This is Consultation, your 2A Self-Defense Law Network. I hope this helped.